Hello students, how are you doing? I hope you are doing very fine. Okay, last week we treated punctuation. This week you are going to be learning verbs. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to say the meaning of verbs, mention types of verbs, and identify verbs in a sentence. What are verbs? Traditionally, anytime I asked you what a verb was, you always told me that a verb was an action or doing word. Okay, you can see these words in the screen: draw, hop, jump, read, write, dance, dive, swim. They are all verbs. They are action words. I'm sure you can think of other words of your own. Okay, let's look at different types of verbs. There are different types of verbs. Let's take them one after the other. The transitive verb is a verb that requires a direct object to complete its meaning. You ask me, what is object? What is object? The object of a sentence is the person or thing the subject is acting on. When I say Olu is sitting on the table, Olu is the subject sitting on the table, acting on the table. The table, of course, is the object in that sentence. The subject in a sentence is the person or thing doing the action. And of course, the object is the person or thing that suffers the action of the subject. So Olu sitting on the table is suffering the action of this. The table is suffering the action of Olu. Olu is the subject and the table is the object. Okay, now let's look at another type of verb, the intransitive verb. The intransitive verb is a verb that is complete in itself, that does not require a direct object to complete its meaning. Now let's see the difference between a transitive verb and an intransitive verb. Okay, a transitive verb is an action verb that takes object to complete its action. Intransitive verbs are action verbs, but unlike transitive verbs, they do not have or take an object to complete their action. Okay, I bake some cookies. Bake is transitive verb with taking the object some cookies. I ride the bicycle. Ride is a transitive verb taking the object the bicycle. I move the chair. Move is transitive verb taking the object the chair. I laugh is intransitive verb because it does not take an object. You can see in this sentence. I cry. Cry is intransitive verb. The book falls. Falls is intransitive verb. Now let's look at linking verb. A linking verb does not express action. You would say why? It connects the subject to its complement. It describes the subject. She is beautiful. She is a subject, is linking verb, and beautiful is a complement. Okay, so you see words like be, verb forms like be, am, is, are, was, were, has, been, and other verb forms, okay, that are linking verbs. And other words like become, seem, taste, feel, those words are linking verbs. Now let's look at this example. The tomato smells rotten. The professor is absolutely sure. The boy gets mad when he's hungry. Lynn was tired until the caffeine kicked in. The company stays true to its founding principles. I'm sure you know what the linking verbs here already. Okay, smells, is, gets, was, and stays are the linking verbs in these 5 sentences. Okay, next verb we're looking at is the auxiliary verb. What are auxiliary verbs? Like you have been taught in your primary school, they are helping verbs. They are helping verbs because they help the main verbs to make a statement. Okay, when you have one or more auxiliary verbs before a main verb, it forms a verb form, a verb phrase rather, Okay, usually an auxiliary verb appears before the main verb in a verb phrase. So when you have a verb phrase, you have one or more auxiliary verbs with a main verb. So let's look at these examples. You can see in these 2 sentences, Olu can eat all the meat. Olu in the first sentence is the subject, can is the auxiliary verb, and eat is the main verb. Okay, you can see that the auxiliary verb is close to the main verb to complete the meaning. I am coming here soon. If you remove am, I am there soon. Okay, I am coming there soon. So am is a auxiliary verb in this sentence. Next, let's look at the main verb, also known as lexical verb. The main verbs are independent on their own. They do not need another verb to complete their meaning. Let's look at sentence examples. Sentence number 1, John can dance very well. Can is auxiliary, dance is of course the main verb in the first sentence. Some students are reading in the library. Okay, the main verb in this sentence, the second sentence, is reading. Next is irregular verb. We have irregular verbs and regular verbs. Irregular verbs are verbs that don't take the regular D or ED or IED spelling patterns of the past simple tense and the past participle verb forms. You have the V2 and the V3. When I taught you verb forms, I taught you that there are 5 principal verb forms, 5 principal parts of verbs. You have the first number 1 verb form. You have the base form or the root. You have the root form or the base form. Then you have the simple present. You have the present participle or the continuous tense form, the simple past tense form, and then the past participle. Okay, so the irregular verbs do not take the D or ED that usually occurs in the regular verbs. Let's look at it. You have example here. The present tense of wear is wear. Okay, so the children wear warm clothing every winter. Simple past tense of wear is wore, and the past participle is worn. Okay, yesterday the children wore warm clothing to play in the snow. Past participle of wear is worn. The children have worn warm clothing since December. Can you think of other irregular verbs? Did I hear you say sweep? Okay, sweep, swept, swept. Break, broke, broken. Those are irregular verbs. They particularly change their vowel forms, okay, to attain the simple past and past participle. Let's look at regular verbs. The regular verbs contrast with irregular verbs, which form their simple past tenses and past participle in varying ways, like a variety of ways, like I've told you already. Break, broke, broken. Sleep, slept, slept. Bring, brought, brought. Those are irregular verbs. Okay, for regular verbs, their simple past tense and past participle are always the same. Okay, talk, talked, talked. Let's look at an example here. You have talk, talked. You have laugh, laughed. Pull, pulled. Watch, watched. And cook, cooked. Okay, trust, trusted. These words are regular verbs. Finite verbs. Okay, finite verbs are verbs that have they agree with their subjects in number and tense. Okay, let's look at the example. John cooks carrots. Okay, John is singular subject. It takes a singular verb, which is cooks. Okay, the final verb is cooks. So the final verb usually agrees with its subject in number. Next is the non-final verb. The non-final verb do not change their form when the number or person of the subject changes. Okay, and there are mainly three types of non-finite verbs. This type of verbs are called verbals. They are called verbals because they take other forms. Okay, non-finite verbs can function as an adjective or as a noun, as you will see in this lesson. There are three types of non-finite verb. You have the infinitive, gerund, and participle. Let's take them one after the other. The first one is the gerund. A gerund is a verb in its ing form. It's a verb in its ing form and usually functions as a noun. You can see in the first sentence, eating blackberries quickly is a bad habit. She hates waiting for trains. Okay, eating is a gerund and waiting is a gerund. Infinitive verb. What is an infinitive verb? An infinitive is a verb form that acts as other parts of speech in a sentence. It can act as a noun, okay, in a sentence. Okay, example, and usually it takes to plus the base form of the verb. To buy, to walk, to sit. So anytime you see the infinitive in a sentence, I'm sure you'll be able to identify it. The last amongst the three non-finite verbs is the participle verb, which is a form of verb that can be used as an adjective or combined with the verb to be. We combine with the verb to be to construct different verb tenses. Okay, let's look at some sentence examples. You can see he has a broken tooth. Brightly colored pictures hung on the wall. Those are stolen goods. If you look at this verb, this participle verb closely, you will see that in these sentences it's actually functioning as an adjective. Okay, he has a broken tooth. Broken is an adjective which describes or qualifies the noun tooth. Okay, brightly colored pictures here, colored pictures, colored here is functioning as an adjective which modifies the noun pictures. I'm sure you remember. Okay, those are stolen goods. Stolen goods. Stolen is participle verb that is functioning as an adjective and modifying the noun goods. I'm sure when you see participle verbs in sentences, you'll be able to identify them. With that, we come to the end of this lovely and interesting, exciting lesson, I must say. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Till we meet again in the next lesson, bye-bye and stay safe. Keep washing your hands always. Bye.